Fun. Hey there, this is Jen and Sean, and this is episode 16 of the Sexcapade Chronicles. Cheers! As you may have noticed, Lisa is not here today as my co-host, but Sean is filling in for her. Lisa is on a super secret, top secret mission for PI, so we're lucky enough to have Sean.
She's working.
Yeah, she's working. So I'm lucky enough to have Sean fill in today. Now don't worry, we have the married counterpart person versus the single hot mess. So we're going to get into that a little bit, but we're very excited for you to join us today. Sean's seen it all, been there with me through all the sexcapades and all the other...
Not personally with her in the room, per se.
In the room next to me in Tahoe. But
Yes.
So we've gone on many vacations together and had lots of shenanigans, so it's going to be really fun today for you guys to get to hear some of the behind the scenes of our friendship and the last 3+ years of knowing one another.
It's been that long?
Yes, it's been that long.
Cheers.
Cheers. So Sean is my running buddy, my ride or die friend, and one of my only friends I actually have that made it through the weather of the PTSD storm.
Yes.
So we met before that shit hit the fan. But one of my favorite things about Sean is how many times he's been married. 3. 3. And divorced.
3.
And how old are you, Sean?
46.
46. So Lisa said he has her beat, so she was really upset about that. So just so you guys know, it's a competition on here of who can get divorced the most, I guess, or married. I don't know. I don't know what we're competing for. Is like the shit show.
That's not the competition you want to be in.
But nonetheless, like so many of my friends.
Winner. Wait, loser? I don't know. One of the two.
So I actually got the privilege of signing the papers for your last divorce recently.
Yep.
So it's finalized, and she was served, and I got to sign off on it.
Yep.
When we met, the divorce process had begun. You just had separated.
Yes. Yeah, literally. We met, 2-3 months after the police escorted my ex from my place.
Yes. We have lots of great stories. So let's talk about the 3 wives. So let's start with wife 1.
Okay. Wife 1, 2 kids with her, and she was the best woman I ever dated, and it turned out to be a complete lie and a catastrophe.
Okay, so best woman you ever dated, wife not so good.
Oh, horrifying wife.
Horrifying wife, mother?
Oh, God.
Alrighty then.
My daughter cannot be in the same room with her.
Mm-hmm.
She actually still, as an adult, my daughter's over 18, she wants to figure out a way where she can actually legally divorce her mother.
Well, if she figures this out, let me know.
Yeah, because it is that bad.
Oh.
She locked her in a closet, and my daughter's claustrophobic. That was her punishment, was to lock her in closets.
And you were able to see your kids for many years, so you had no way of kind of like intervening.
Absolutely. I had nothing I could do. She wouldn't return phone calls. Everything was illegal, but California, thank you for enforcement. Yay.
But you were living out of state. They lived in Idaho.
Idaho, yeah.
Yeah, correct. Okay.
Yeah, you can hardly get enforcement out of county, let alone out of state.
So, you wanted to be a part of their lives as soon as they were old enough. I know you've reached out to them. You go on vacations with them. You're a great father. And I've seen all of that play out, so I'm really excited for you.
Well, thank you.
So, wife 1, catastrophe. He has a great relationship with his kids, though. He's a really great father. All right, wife 2.
I actually met her and were married within 4 months. I don't think you knew that one.
No, well, this doesn't shock me at all.
Yeah. But she and we were together for almost 10 years. We were absolutely in love. She was a really good human. Not a really good wife. She ended up getting depressed and having some issues. She lost her job, things like that. And it just snowballed, and finally, eventually, it was like I had to leave. For my own safety, my own emotional health, I had to leave. It broke my heart to leave, but I had to, and I did.
So, your emotional well-being, so that's super important. Your mental health, we talk about this all the time.
Yeah, and I had to do it for my mental health, not for the sake of anything. People might say I'm selfish, whatever. I'm like, no, I gave for years through her depression, and she refused to do... I know it's a depression thing, but she refused to get help, and finally... It was just awful, and it was sad.
Well, there's only so much you can do. You can lead a horse to water, as they say.
But you can't make her drink.
Yeah, and when you met me, I was still around my ex that had substance abuse problems, and that was very familiar for us both. And And not because of us, but because of our significant others.
We had.
Because it's not us, it's them. But like
always, yeah, always.
Because we don't have any issues.
No.
But we go to treatment though, so you've gone to see a psychiatrist, and you've gone and such. We're very open with one another about our mental health issues. Like they're very apparent very quickly because Sean's unfiltered like I am as a person, but we work on ourselves, and I think it's really hard to be with someone that isn't trying to get better.
Yes, and that was my problem. Was I was the one carrying the load, and she wasn't. I know it's a depression thing.
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah.
It doesn't make it any easier for me. And so after probably 4 or 5 years of her depression, remember we were married for almost 10 years.
Yeah.
So a good solid half of our marriage, she was clinically depressed.
Yeah.
I wanted to kill myself.
Yeah.
At the end of this. I was horribly depressed and because of this. So seek help. Encourage your loved ones to seek help. If they don't, I'm sorry, sometimes you have to draw the line.
Yeah.
And I hate saying that, and that's why it's like, I respect marriage. Yeah, been married 3 times, divorced. I know, hypocrite. But I do respect the sanctity of marriage, and it killed my soul to have to break up with her and leave her.
And that's the thing is like, like when I left my significant other, I tried for a really long time even afterwards. And that was a struggle I had of like, I'm leaving this person and I felt really guilty. I was like, I have to save myself or we both drown kind of thing. And it gets to that point and I was in such a dark place. I wouldn't have made it if I would have stayed in that situation. We both would have perished and like...
Oh yes, and that's the thing is, sometimes 2 individual people are more toxic together. Like I was essentially codependent with her on her problems because I was enabling her problems.
Yeah.
Because like I had a job.
Sean's like very, very intelligent, like self-employed and like does computer software things that I don't understand. Technological things.
Yeah, I've been a software engineer for the vast majority of my life. I love it. I love my technology. And it pays. I mean, I get a job, but sometimes it doesn't. You remember there's some, recessions.
Well, there's the wave, of being self-employed.
Yes.
And, we've gone through it together.
Oh, yes.
And that's one of the things that, you and I have a special bond only because, you've seen me at my worst when no one else really was allowed to.
Yes.
But we'll get to that a little bit later. Let's go to wife 3, because, our significant others were, mine that I left, the one that added, is very similar to wife 3 that you left.
Well, basically that was a clusterfuck from day one.
Okay.
Just absolute. She was fun and amazing to go do things with, just the life of the party, till you realize all she's doing is leeching the whole time. She's consuming and taking. She brings just enough to the table to where you forget that she's bringing basically nothing to the table.
Yeah.
And it was really difficult to figure that out. And then the gaslighting and everything that I did, I was the one at fault. No matter what went wrong in our relationship, I was the one at fault. She had nothing ever to blame. Oh God, I'm not perfect. I will freely admit my faults. And I have lots of them. But when every single argument, every single thing was my fault, I'm like, wait, red flag here.
Yeah, I can't always be one person. And the accountability factor, and then they want you to forget. And I know that she used and abused things too.
Oh yeah.
Self-medicate just like mine did, because we bonded over this over the years.
Oh yeah. And it's really kind of sad because she's not addicted to drugs. She's addicted to other people loving on her because she has a very low self-esteem. You wouldn't be able to tell by looking at her. But she has an incredibly low self-worth, low self-esteem. She's a horrible wretch of a human from her own eyes. And so she has to go and be that life of the party type of person so that people lavish on her this luxury of love that she thinks.
Okay, so people could argue that I am that person, by the way. That I have to be, if you don't know me, people would think that, right? I mean, if you saw me in a social setting, would I not come off as that type of person?
I can see that. You're not to the... you might be about a 7 on that scale. She's about
No, but I don't need it for self-validation. That's just like what
No, you're just over the top.
Yeah, like as a person. Like, I've never, like, I don't go out. I don't like to go out. You know this. You had to, like, pry me out of the house, like, for the last, like, 2.5 years.
It's like, we're going running. And then come back here. Yes.
Yeah, I didn't like to leave. So people have this image, though, of, like, you know, like, when you go out and you need to be the life of the party, that you actually want that kind of attention versus, like, you are playing a character.
Yeah, and like she played that where she needed that attention, and it was telling also that every single one of her friends, like good friends, lives 400 miles away, 1,000 miles away, other states, etc. It's very telling because the closest people to her are the ones who don't spend a lot of time with her.
They're party friends.
Well, yeah. Well, actually, they're friends from a long time back, or they're this friend or that. You know, those types of things. But they don't keep that daily local communication where they would actually see through and go, "Oh, you're broken."
Yeah.
Now she can keep it up because she only has to see them for 3, 4, 5 days at a time.
Yeah.
And she can keep up the facade.
Yeah.
And it's really sad because it really dragged me down for the time that we were together. I was like, "This is great. This is so much fun. This is enjoy." Oh shit. This fucking sucks.
Yeah.
And then finally one day it dawned on me. Actually, while she's sitting on the toilet.
Are you in the bathroom with her?
Well, our bathroom's kind of separated. Like, so there's like the washing area over here, and then the shitter's over there. So she's sitting on the shitter.
Very romantic.
Oh yeah, I had just walked in the door, and she starts ragging on me about something. I don't even know what, but she's telling me, this is the part I remember, is that I have no friends. And that I'm a worthless human being. And I turned to her, and went, no, I have friends. I don't have a lot of friends, but I have close friends. You're the one who doesn't have friends.
Yeah.
And she actually literally just started bawling while sitting on the toilet. Because she knew it was true. And that's the sad part. That was like, yeah, I don't know, maybe that might have been actually after we split, I don't remember, but it was just this whole realization to me that I'm not the one who's that desperately broken, but I thought I was.
Of course, because like that's like how I felt though, like with my ex. I thought I was the broken one that couldn't take on all of the shit anymore because of the facade and the gaslighting and everything. You get so entrenched with that person, you don't know up from down anymore. And you don't know that it's not your fault. And you're believing the lies. Yeah, and
like with gaslighting, a lot of times the other person, they actually believe the lies they're telling you. So events happen A, B, C. In their mind, they scramble it B, C, A, so that they aren't the guilty one. Because they have such a low self-esteem or something, they confuse it, not necessarily intentionally, sometimes yes intentionally, but they don't necessarily do it intentionally. It's they're broken. They have a mental disease. They need to see a shrink.
And those are what I came from, two people that are exactly like that.
And yeah, exactly. And it's devastating. And until you see through the gaslighting, you feel horrible because I caused this problem.
And the trauma of that, like, because you take that on and you actually absorb that is what your worth is. And that you're crazy and you're this and you're that because it's reinforced constantly.
It really is. Daily, hourly. It's terrifying. And looking back on it, I look and go, I'm shocked I didn't kill myself. I mean, it was horrible.
Yeah.
It was just terrifying.
Well, okay, so speaking of that, so, like, you know, Sean was one of the only people that actually saw me in the 16 months of, like, you know, my not talking to people. And we'd met 6 months prior to my assault. And Sean was there the night that it happened, actually. He was one of the few people that could testify to the events and everything else and was, like, a true friend to me. And when shit went wrong, like, he was, like, the most loyal person in the world. I'm going to be honest about that. And he's the only reason I left the house a lot of days because I was afraid to leave the house. And, like, we went through a lot together because you were getting divorced and I was going through this stuff. And, you know, he's always been my ride or die buddy. Everyone always asks if we've hooked up. We have not. We've been friends. And, you know, that's one of the things I treasure most about our relationship is the dynamic of crazy that is us.
Yeah, it's two completely different versions of crazy. but crazy nonetheless.
I don't know if we're that different, to be honest.
I'm confusing myself. I'm deluding myself.
Okay.
Allow me this delusion.
Sure. All right, then. So, like, why don't you tell people actually, like, what it was like to see me go through the PTSD? Because you met me before. It was full blown.
Okay, so Jen turned into incoherent, babbling, crazy person. Literally, the conversations were about what was I saying? And it was so intense. She couldn't finish a sentence without starting another sentence, and would have to loop back around to try and finish her thoughts because her brain was so scrambled from it. It was
overwhelmed. I couldn't, like, sort through anything. When I said I couldn't think anymore.
It was literally like taking just all your thoughts and laying them out as threads, and then just giving them to a cat, and then going, pull one, and all these other things come and are dangling and are scattered, and you can't get from here to here without pieces of that and that and that coming into play. So it was...
It's as bad as I say it was, if not worse, to watch. Like, I mean, like...
To watch, it was confusing. I've never seen anything like that before in my life. To see someone who literally could not speak was insane.
And you know, like, you knew what I was like before, so to see it, like, firsthand, you're like, what the fuck? Like...
God, it was tough.
Yeah.
It was, honestly, it was tough as your friend. It was like, what the fuck is Jen gonna break down today?
No one knew what was gonna come next if I would make it. And, like, a lot of days I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, I got phone calls where she's just babbling and crying, and I was like, okay, get over here. And she's like, ah! And then a little while later, she's like, okay.
Yeah. I think that people don't understand, like, I was on a podcast this morning, and people are like, oh, you're so intelligent, and you're so like this. I'm like, yes. And imagine being stuck in that. Like, how hard it would be to want to continue on, because you don't know you're going to get better and ever resemble.
Well, there is no better.
There is, I am coherent. And
no, at that point.
Oh, yeah, no, there is no better.
There is no better, because